Hello and welcome to the Basketball Addicts podcast. And today we have a good one for you.
We
So
always got a good one.
today's yes, sir. Today we got a fun one because today we're going to talk about the NBA Finals. Basically, what you're listening to is the NBA Finals just finished. Game 6 is over. It's the day after and we're recording. So, we're just going to talk about game 6. We're going to talk about the NBA Finals. We're probably going to so poetically about the Warriors and Curry and all those type of fun things. So it's going to be a really good podcast. And then upcoming pretty soon, you guys are going to be hearing NBA draft stuff as well, since the draft is next week on Thursday. We're going to be live streaming, reacting to that either through YouTube or Instagram. We don't know yet, but one of those two platforms. And we're going to drop a top 30 big board and a full NBA mock draft, which is already done. We're just going to record it. So you guys could definitely want to look out for that because it's coming up so soon. The draft is so coming so quick. So, yeah, Chris, what did you think about game 6?
Oh man, Game 6 was exciting to say the least.
Mm, mm-hmm.
The way the Celtics started off, I mean, I don't know if they just could start really well but can't finish or what. But
Mm-hmm.
when it came to finishing that game, they were down like 15 at the end. Like it was ridiculous. The Warriors
Mm-hmm.
led by so much as 22. Just got to
Mm.
give respect has to go out to Curry. Curry has been, I wouldn't say technically disrespected, but he's been looked down on since Kevin Durant. For one,
Mm. Mm-hmm.
they were having a conversation. Could Curry win without Durant because the Warriors had a little bit of a slump for about 2 years, um,
Yeah.
and then they were saying like now the conversation has shifted from can Curry win without Durant to can Durant win without Curry, because that's who it should have been on,
Mm.
because Curry is the true superstar here. Durant is a superstar,
Yeah.
but we've seen, let's go back to, what was that, last year I think it was? Jokic's first MVP, right?
Yeah.
In your
Last year.
opinion, Jay, who should have got that MVP?
Steph by a gazillion miles.
There it
He
is.
had like
But
30.6 a game
the
points per
disrespect,
game.
you know what I mean? It was just disrespect. He took his team, who they didn't
Mm-hmm.
have Draymond or Clay.
True.
It was just him.
Mm-hmm.
What I don't understand is when it comes to most valuable player, it should be the most valuable player on that team, and there's not a more
Mm-hmm.
valuable player on in that season. He carried
Mm-hmm.
his team to a um
Playing game
play-in
against the
tournament, lost the
Grizzlies.
first game, and then I mean no wait he lost to the Lakers. Was that year?
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
he
then they
lost to
had
he
to
lost.
play the
Then they
Grizzlies
then they had
after
to
that.
then they had to play the Grizzlies.
Yeah.
It what did we say what did we say about the first round? If the Warriors got in and they played Utah, what was going to happen?
Warriors were gonna win. And you had the
Warriors are going to
Warriors going
win.
to the Western Conference Final.
There it is. It was just 2 years too early. That's all it was. I mean, it was a year too early. Um,
1 year.
but
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
just think about it.
Yeah.
Was a lot of disrespect for Curry. As far as that he couldn't win without a mega star in Durant or something like that. And he proved all the haters wrong. I mean, I know he has a lot of
Mm,
fans, but there were a lot of haters, a lot of
true.
people in media who were saying, "Oh, the Boston Celtics are going to win. They were going to beat them. They weren't good enough to be." And what did the Warriors as a team do? They shut everybody up, and they put on
Mm-hmm.
their petty hats and their petty pants, and they were petty, and they
Mm-hmm.
had, like, you can't hate them because that's what
Mm,
should have been happening, because as a team
yeah.
there wasn't a team more disrespected than the Warriors this season
True.
outside
Yeah.
the Lakers. That's pretty much
Mm,
it. They had to. This was an important ring, not
mm-hmm.
for the fact that it proved Curry's, worth in the NBA, because we already know him as the greatest shooter. You know what I mean? He's a 4-time champ now, but now he's literally solidified. Now he has to be.
Yes.
He's what, top two, maybe one, depending on who you talk to, point guard ever, and he's
Yeah.
top five all time.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's completely right.
Top five all time, and one more thing, Wiggins. I was listen. I'm okay to be like I was wrong. I was wrong. I was
Mm,
wrong. I was never on the Wiggins train, except for like when he was in Minnesota for a little bit. And then when Jimmy Butler came and
mm.
told him he didn't have a heart, then I was like, it's played the whole entire bench squad against the starters. That's when I was like, maybe he doesn't have a heart. Maybe he's not as great as
Yeah.
I was one who was really like, I don't think this is a great pickup. I don't see what they
Mhm,
can do with Wiggins. He's not great. And then
mhm.
he made an All Star team. We were very critical about that. He shouldn't have made it. But one thing that this finals series has done for him as well is that it has people looking at him a lot differently now.
Yeah. Mhm.
Like in Minnesota, we saw him as a possible. They were trying to make him into something. They couldn't find out. I'm not gonna say they were trying to make him. They couldn't figure out exactly what kind of player he was. They didn't know if he was a
Yeah.
one, if he was a two. You know what I mean? But they kept trying to put him like, okay, it's him and Zach Levine. He's the one, Zach's the two, or however you want to put that. But no, the
Mhm,
best place for him was the Golden State Warriors because that's where he found his identity as a top three. He's a three.
mhm,
He's a three. He's the best third option on a championship team.
mm. Yeah, he is a great third option. Yeah.
Defensively, he was locking up possibly one of the best scorers he what I think Tatum had he averaged 29.5 points in the finals or something crazy like that, but Wiggins was defending him. You kept throwing bodies at these people.
Mhm.
Wiggins actually he helped them win game 5, was integral part of that. Besides
Oh,
outside of
yeah.
Curry's like 34 points, I think it was, Wiggins had like 22 or
Yeah.
something of that nature.
I think Curry had a really bad game 5, and Wiggins was the leading scorer, I think, with 26.
Yeah, 26. Yeah, he probably had
Yeah.
34 last game. Okay, yeah, I might have got it mixed up. But yeah, he's I'm going to say I was wrong. I'm going to say I was wrong. I'm really going to say I was wrong. You know what I mean? Because I was a critic of him. I was like,
Mm,
maybe he is washed. Maybe he's not
mm,
as great as he's a bust. Like
mhm.
possibly. But I'm shut up now. I'm a firm believer. I'm a firm believer in Wiggs. Hopefully they give him the money that he deserved, that he should get.
They'll pay him.
They got to pay him at some point.
They have an open checkbook over there in Golden State.
Yeah. They're going to pay him and Jordan Poole because Jordan Poole, that's another guy right there. Oh my
All of them
gosh.
are getting paid. There's no way they let anybody from this roster go. I don't see it happening.
Please, for everybody who said six man of the year,
Man scores like a point a minute.
six man of the year. uh, Six man of the year is like a Lou Will type. This is a guy who really he could start.
Yes.
It's just that there's too much
Yes.
on that team already. He could start.
Hmm. They just have
Do
a
we
way
need
they play with Clay and Steph that just fits, so that it's hard to put Jordan Poole in there.
exactly?
Those two fit so well together. Yeah, Clay and Steph. I mean, 4 rings. You can't question the fit there.
Exactly. You can't. You can't.
No.
But I'm glad that you brought up Clay though. One of the look, this is like a Cinderella moment for Clay. Even
Yeah.
though they've been to the championship before, he spent 2 years out of the league for
Hmm.
injuries. Two
Yeah.
whole seasons, 2 whole years.
Yes.
Came back and they were like, Clay's not the same person anymore.
Hmm.
Some people were like, if Clay comes back healthy or even at a certain percentage of himself, then they can win a championship. Stephen A said that. I heard that yesterday.
Mm.
Fine. Some people did believe. Most people didn't believe. They said that
Mm.
Clay's not the same person anymore. And what did he show you? He showed you that 2 injuries later, still Game 6 Clay exists.
Hmm.
Every single time they needed him most, he didn't vanish.
Especially defensively, he was really good
Yeah.
that game. Yeah.
And it takes an athletic kind of caliber of player to defend. So with those kind of injuries, especially ACLs, that
Hmm.
that that limits the athleticism. So big ups to his trainers for getting him back and being able to even defend at
Yeah.
even I would say maybe 80% of the level he used to be able to defend at.
Yeah. He was such an amazing defender. Now he's not as athletic as he used to be, but he's still a good defender. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's just not as like he used to be ridiculous. Like switch on everybody, guard everybody. It was like He had Andrew Wiggins' role. 1 through
Hmm.
3, he was guarding the best guy
Yeah.
usually, unless Andre Iguodala was on the team and he was starting. Yeah, yeah,
Draymond's Draymond.
yeah.
The
Winner.
vocal leader, the defensive anchor of that team. I mean, like
Does all the
he
little
really
things.
plays his role very well. He does a
Hmm.
lot of things, and we've seen this before. He does a lot of things that does not show up on the stat sheet. He's not going to give you 20, 10, but he'll give you like, oh, he's flopping. He's
Hmm.
getting people out
Instigating
out of
another
their
team.
game. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? He's in your face with all the energy, just riling up that team and keeping them going.
He's a winner.
A winner.
This team's
But
full of winners.
oh, for sure, for sure. Like I said, this team is too deep. They have so many great pieces that going forward that they could
Hmm.
possibly win another one. Um,
Yeah.
but the Celtics, I don't want to say anything bad about the Celtics. It's just that they should. This is not a game or a series that they should hang their head on. This should be
Mm.
fuel for next season. This should be okay. I have some deficiencies that I must address.
Hmm.
Um, far as the turnovers, that should be
Yes.
a
Yes.
big thing going forward. They have
Yes.
to limit turnovers. Like
Hmm.
these are games that were winnable, but they lost
Hmm.
them due to the high number of turnovers. 22
Yes.
turnovers, that's too many.
Hmm.
That's way too many turnovers. How can you win a basketball game? 22 turnovers. It doesn't matter if you're shooting 50%. 22
Hmm.
turnovers, you can't win a game that way.
No.
You can't. You have to limit your turnovers. Have to limit the turnovers. This is not a game that you should hang your head on. You should be proud of the series, but know that you got close, and that there
Hmm.
are adjustments that need to be made. There are deficiencies that need to be addressed.
Yeah. Yeah. Anything else?
No, I'm done.
Well, I'm gonna segue to the Boston Celtics since you're talking about the Boston Celtics before I move to the Warriors and stuff like that. First things first. In Game 6, it was a terrible game from the Boston Celtics. Basically, the Golden State Warriors were playing at hyperspeed, right? They're pushing pace, pushing pace, pushing pace. And the Golden State Warriors, for some reason, I mean, the Boston Celtics, for some reason, were like, you know what? The Warriors are pushing pace. We might as well, yeah, let's bring out the ball court really fast. Yeah, yeah, Marcus Smart, sprint up with the ball. Yeah, yeah. Like, no. You have gotten to the NBA Finals by playing at your pace, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't let them going up by 20, right? Make you think that you have to play out of your game to make a comeback. You have Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown on your team.
Yeah.
Those guys can get hot, right? You've gotten this far playing a certain style. The Warriors were ridiculously hot from three, and they cooled off for the rest of the game, right? They started off with like 50 or 60% for three, and they finished with 41% from three. So like they cooled off throughout the rest of the game. There was chances that we had to make a comeback in this game, but they lost composure. They lost composure of the Golden State Warriors setting a pace, and for some reason they were just like, we'll just do the same exact thing because obviously basketball, right?
Yeah.
Do do you like, and that comes with a few holes in their game. There's one other thing that I'm very critical of. They didn't get Al Horford involved enough. I mean, the guy had a really hot night from shooting 3-point shots, but you know, every time that they posted up Al Horford on the switches on somebody, good things happened, but that maybe happened 3 to 5 times. So, like that's just not enough. That's not enough volume because getting Steph Curry, Jordan Poole on him, that's an easy mismatch. I mean, it was either a back down post up layup or him passing to somebody that's going to get an open look. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was really efficient basketball, and they should have, when you get an advantage, you press that advantage until the other team says uncle and tries to figure out ways to stop you, right? But
Mm-hmm.
they never forced the Golden State Warriors to really overplay their hand to stop them because they just didn't do it enough. Right, so that's something I definitely did not like. I've been saying for multiple games that they weren't using Al Horford correctly and maximizing his potential and what he could be on this team. Um, Moving on the offseason, I've heard a lot of people copy me, you know what I mean, since the end of the series to talk about them needing a pure point guard. Thank you for listening to the Basketball Addicts podcast, Tracy McGrady. Um, that's just one person I can think of off the top of my head that said the same thing as me. It is very obvious, right? Okay, so you have the Boston Celtics. Okay, what you've done is you have created an identity. That's a great thing, right? Your defensive identity with guys and wing players that are ready to win now and ready to play team first basketball, even though they
Mhm.
score a lot of points. So I'm talking about Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown. Those two guys are ready to win and have committed to winning because they pass more and they don't just like attack double teams ferociously, even though Jaylen Brown made a lot of poor decisions in game six, but um, that's beside the point. They need a pure point guard that can get everybody else involved. I'm sorry, Marcus Smart's not the point guard of the future because he just doesn't fit the scheme of what the team is. He fits it to an extreme extent for your defensive scheme. Yes.
Mhm.
But you need a point guard that can lower this turnover thing because having 16 to 22 point turnovers a game is just not winnable. You can't win
At
games
all.
that way when you don't play the Golden State Warriors style of basketball, which is like high risk passes and great passing that leads to a lot of easy buckets. Like they can afford those turnovers because a lot of those turnovers are somebody's wide open underneath the rim and they're making a good pass to him. They just missed. It's just the way their system works. You know what I mean? They have an excuse for that, but most teams don't. Most teams operate to 10 to five turnovers a game. If you watch the Miami Heat, it would be 6 to 8 to 6 to 10. Like they
Mhm.
don't really move too far off of that, and it's because they have guys like Kyle Lowry, Jim Butler can pass the lights out of the basketball. Right? They need a guy that's a CP3. That's a Kyle Lowry. That's a DeJounte Murray. The guy that can be Lonzo Ball. Just one of those guys. Look, they're not that expensive because most NBA teams don't play like this. But you have the ability to do something that can be really special. Because if you can be a low turnover team, play the way you do defensively, and have Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown average 55 to 60 a night, that is a recipe of an NBA champion, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, I understand you got to the NBA finals, but there's always room to improve. There's always room to
Mhm.
get better. And this is what they need to do. And they need to find a backup point guard that fits that scheme too. And I'll be honest with you, Peyton Pritchard is not an NBA point guard. Peyton Pritchard can't do anything. That man can't score. That man can't create space. That man can't even shoot open threes. That guy should not be on an NBA floor. I'm sorry, I don't know him personally, but that guy is not an NBA player. It's just what it is, and especially for what you need bat passing. Have a guy like Ricky Rubio as your backup point guard. It's not that hard. Two guys that fit your scheme, right, and fit what you're trying to do. Trade Marcus Smart and trade some other assets to get the point guards that you need, and then this team will become something special. But they have to get the right fit here, and I'm a little worried about it because Brad Stevens is the GM there, and he's always been a high volume point guard guy. So I don't know if he sees the issue that they have. I think Ime Udoka might, because he comes from the Spurs, right? They play a lot like the Spurs, but the Spurs had
Mhm.
Tony Parker and Tim Duncan who could pass the lights out. Right? Tony Parker was like, I'm going to control the ball. We're not going to turn over the ball that much, right? He was a fit in the scheme, and that's what they need. They need a throwback guy, a 2000s guy, a 1990s guy, a 1980s guy, a guy that can just ball control because you have enough scoring, right? Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and what you've built defensively is special, really special. So don't fuck it up. Don't fuck it up. So that's my message to the Boston Celtics. Do not fuck it up.
Do
Um,
not fuck it up. Simple.
Simple, but it's so hard.
Yeah. Very.
um, And that's my message to them. And Jason Tatum's got to figure they got to figure something out mentally, because they do
Mhm.
break mentally late in the games and stuff like that. So they got to figure out something to do in the off season to improve their mental strength, I guess. Anything to do. I actually told Chris this. I've listened to Gilbert Arenas talk about how in the Eastern Conference Finals, like 2007, 2008, 2006, something like that. Gilbert Arenas had two free throws to win the basketball game. And, LeBron James came over and says, if you miss these two free throws, I'm going to win this playoff series, right? And Gilbert Arenas doesn't say anything back, and he misses the next two free throws. Now, the guy's like a great shooter, but then he talks about how in the offseason, he hired some like Navy SEAL guy to go work on his mental, side of things, and he never had that type of thing happen again. So like it's there's avenues, and I think Jason Tatum and Jalen Brown, they need to figure it out, and they need to get that mental fortitude a little bit up, because the Golden State Warriors won most of these games by just being more mentally tough late in the games,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Executing, because the last 5 minutes, the Boston Celtics can get back into drive and kick, drive and kick, drive and kick, chuck up terrible threes, like
Mhm.
turnover, 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 stupid mistake, right? Just executing the last 5 minutes of a high pressure game. This team needs to figure something out. Jason Tatum needs and Jalen Brown need to figure something out in that aspect. That's something that I would say taking moving forward could be improved upon. Um, for the Golden State Warriors, this is an NBA championship team. These are champions, champions to the highest degree. Um, Man, Steph Curry is an NBA champion, an NBA great, a top 10 great. I personally would have him just behind Magic and Larry Bird. I'd have him above Kobe. I would have him above Tim Duncan. I'd have him above Hakeem. For people don't listen to the podcast and don't get this joke, above Bill Russell, couldn't score more than 20 points per game. All right, now that shot's out of there.
Shots fired.
got the shot out of the way.
Yeah.
We got Clay Thompson, who's a champion. I mean, that guy is just he does what he has to do to win, man. Like he's a winner, right? When they had having lulls, sometimes he would step up and shoot. He wouldn't always make it, but he was he was shooting his shots. Sometimes he had bad games, but he got his shots up. He has the confidence of a champion. Okay, when he's going through slumps, he's going to shoot out of it. And those two
Mhm.
guys, Stephen Curry and Clay Thompson, have um, just immense confidence from shooting. And he's an NBA champion. He's an NBA champion with the way he plays. He has an NBA champion the way he accepts his role. He's an NBA champion in just everything he does. And so is Draymond Green, dear goodness. I mean, the guy is a great instigator, really great at getting his teammates involved and doing the little things that's needed to win. That don't go on the stat sheet, setting great screens, making good passes that may not lead to points at the moment, but leads to another pass. Being a defensive guy that just is brilliant on the defensive end. And Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins stepped up. Andrew Wiggins is now an NBA champion, and Andrew Wiggins is a great fit on an NBA championship team because he's a great defender as well. He is probably a top 5 small forward defender in the world right now. I feel like I can pretty confidently say that he's so special defensively and offensively. He chooses his spots, right. He doesn't take as the crazy shots as he did in Minnesota, not as like the
Mhm.
high risk shots. He plays a much more efficient brand of basketball. uh, Clay and Andrew Wiggins are really good at just scoring 18, both of them,
Mhm.
right? And that's a tough combination moving forward. And this is something that will be interesting moving forward. Kevon Looney had a really great series as well, really good rebounders.
Yeah.
He battled on switches, really tried his best to defend, and had a great series as well. And I would say, and as a whole, Golden State Warriors, Steve Kerr, another coaching brilliance. I mean, you want to talk about shutting the Boston Celtics down? Oh yeah, they did that defensively. Oh
Yes, they
my
did.
goodness. Did this is the worst you probably watched 6 games of the Boston Celtics offensively the whole year. And they were dealing with two guys that could go get it on any day, and Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum. And you
Hmm.
know that they figured out the code, man, and they stuck to it. It's Steve Kerr's brilliance defensively and offensively, and you know he won this coaching battle definitely. I think if this wasn't Steve Kerr and it was just like an average Doc Rivers level coach, you know the Boston Celtics might have won this series. But Steve Kerr's ability to expose weaknesses and play to their strengths and gain every single advantage that's on the basketball floor really maximizes this team. And he definitely needs to be viewed as such as a all-time great coach. I think he's top 5 all time. I think he's with, you know, Phil Jackson, Red Auerbach, um, you know,
Pop.
Casey Jones, Pat Riley, Greg Popovich. They're all in the same breath, really, truly. Um, he's the greatest coach in the NBA right now, and you know he's a great emotional leader as well. Like he really helps them emotionally and mentally and have that mental toughness. And he's perfected that because again, I've said it before and I say it again. Name me a person who gets the best through 1 through 12, and I will tell you you're a liar because the 12th guy on that bench, Gary Payton. Gary Payton was out of the league for a while. It wasn't ever getting NBA minutes. He goes to the Warriors and he has a role and he does what he's supposed to do and he's completely maximized. Like everybody on that team, whatever the best version of them is what the Golden State Warriors is, and not every team can say that because
Hmm.
there's sometimes some coaches can't handle the dynamics between players. Oh, we got infighting between players. How do you handle that? Right? Sometimes coaches can't handle that effectively. Steve Kerr does. Right? Oh my gosh, the X's and O's. I might not be really great at maximizing what a player can do. Oh, Steve Kerr does. Right? Look at Steph Curry pre and with Mark Jackson than without Mark Jackson. Now, Mark Jackson might be a really great NBA mind, but the off-ball stuff and the passing and the 24 seconds of death didn't come around until Steve Kerr got there, right? So
Yeah.
that is maximizing the talent, and he's just phenomenal, phenomenal, top tier, top tier. And look at you can't deny the development skills either because look at what Jordan Poole is. Like
Yeah.
that's not a mistake. You know that was done on purpose, that was done with intention. And you know and other than that, Steph Curry's got to be considered top 2 point guard of all time. This has got to be like the two guard position. Who's the second best two guard of all time, Chris?
Oh, see, so it's Mike, Kobe, and then Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, Kobe, right? And
Yeah.
it's Kobe by a mile, right?
Hmm.
This is the way it's got to be for the point guard position. I argument for John Stockton, really, a guy that barely could have never scored more than 20 points per game. Better than a 4-time champion, Finals MVP, 2-time MVP, and a guy who I think is top 10 player of all time. You really compare him to John Stockton? No. CP3, funny conversation. Like you would have go to name some other great point guards, Chris. Jason Kidd, no. Like, come on
Kid,
now. He was a good passer, but no,
Isaiah
no.
Thomas,
Oscar Robertson, Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas really has a great resume, but he's not the winner Steph Curry is. So then
Jerry
where's the
West.
debate? Because one of them is the better scorer, and that's Steph Curry. Like Jerry
Yeah.
West, yeah, I mean that's a good comp. He's a great point guard, yes, but Steph Curry's got more rings. Steph Curry is a better scorer. Steph Curry is a better they're close passing wise. Oscar Robertson is like only a mid range guy, right? His triple double
The
guy,
pistol.
but Pistol Pete Maravich, no rings, none. Like
True.
who
That's
leads
not
the
his fault
winning
though.
more? I mean, yeah, that's a good point. But you understand what I'm trying to get at here. This guy
Yeah.
leads to winning and is a great scorer and has the accolades. Like that is like Kobe compared to D Wade. You will never
Yeah.
compare Kobe to D Wade. Kobe's got more rings, more points. The eye test says Kobe's way better. right? Kobe to Allen Iverson. Yeah, get out of here, dude. Kobe to James Harden. Yeah, get out of here, dude. That's the way it has to be with Steph. If you don't want to put him one, he better not be below two. Bob Cousy, fat shits.
It's like
No,
comparing LeBron to Paul Pierce.
yeah, like it's the way it is. Like I this is he's the second best point guard of all time, and he's a top tenner. This is a guy that's you can't disagree and say he doesn't lead to winning. He doesn't have the stats. Get out of here. His stats are ridiculous. So if you're a stat guy, and your eye test should tell you that he does more on an NBA basketball court than just scoring. So his legacy is a lot better now, a lot better now
Hmm.
because you could have made an argument. Oh, Katie carried. Oh, okay, love. No, Kyrie against LeBron. He beat he beat the Boston Celtics when they were favored.
Yeah.
People came in saying Boston Celtics will win. He beat them. Name another guy who averages more than 20 points per game on that team, and I'll tell you're a liar. So, that this Steph's world. This is a guy that deserves to be recognized for how amazing he is because he can be a little misinterpreted because non-basketball addicts like you guys are not, you know what I mean, may not be able to see how much more he impacts the game than just stats because of all the attention he draws on the defense that Chris and I can see clearly, and his effect on a game is greater than those stats. But most people can't see it. But a common fan will say NBA champions, Finals MVPs, NBA MVPs. He's got two NBA MVPs, one Final MVP, and 4 rings. That's a heck of a
Yeah.
resume. So he's
And
got to be stamped.
oh, for sure, snapped. And just think about this for a second. That Boston Celtics defense is the best defense in the NBA. It's the number one defense in the NBA.
Yeah.
They threw 4 people at Curry, and he still was able to like dominate. It's
Yes.
ridiculous. We have to
Mhm.
show love and give flowers to Curry.
Mhm.
This is not some run of them. This is the same team that beat the Brooklyn Nets.
Mhm.
And you know how many people were like, "Oh, the Brooklyn Nets, even though they don't need James Harden, they're fine still."
That was me.
Jason was
Me.
one of them.
Guilty as
Yeah,
charged. Guilty as charged.
and they swept them.
Yeah.
This is the Celtics team that did not lose more than one game. You know what I mean? Like they did not they did not lose 2 games in a row the entire playoffs until they met the Warriors.
Mhm.
They basically ran through the East.
Mhm. True. True.
Heat in 6. Like this Warriors team, this Steph Curry he's top 10. He's top 10 all time. We have to give him his respect.
Yeah.
We have to give him his flowers because this was not this. I don't feel that if you take Curry off that team doesn't get anywhere. That Curry is
No.
the Curry like
No.
you don't get anywhere.
No.
You don't get anywhere.
No. Not at all.
If you take that 2018 Warriors team, remove Curry and keep Durant, that Warriors team doesn't win anymore.
No.
They
No.
lose. They lose.
I'm
They lose to LeBron and a pack of pills, some keys, and a telephone.
or they don't make it there because of James Harden CP3.
Yeah.
They pushed him.
Yeah.
They pushed him to 6 without They went up 3-2, I think, and CP3 got hurt, right?
Yeah.
Against the Warriors. So, the reason why we're bringing this up, and the reason why I'm so glad you brought this up, is there is a KD versus Steph battle going on here, and KD doesn't lead the win more winning because look at how easy it was to expose his lack of passing, and
Yeah.
again with the Warriors, it would have been so easy to expose that without another great passer on the floor. Because Draymond Green may be able to do a lot of things, but he's not a point guard. You know what I mean? He's not an actual guy that's going to draw attention. He plays off of other people drawing attention. He doesn't draw attention. You know what I mean? So what Steph does to the defense, you know what I mean, would have not been there, and KD would have not been able to carry. Like, you have to understand, KD had Russell Westbrook on his team. before going
Mhm.
to the Warriors
Yeah.
and couldn't beat the Warriors. Russell Westbrook, the year after Kevin Durant left, had the triple double season where he won the MVP,
That is true.
28, 10, and 10, something like that. And the
Something
eight
crazy
seed,
like that. Yeah.
and they lost the Warriors with
Mhm.
Klay Thompson and Draymond Green. How in the world did normal NBA fans not see that Steph Curry's the better player? Because KD had the third best player on the floor on his team. It was
Mhm.
Steph's the best player in the series, KD second, and third was Russell by a mile. I love Klay Thompson, but he's not Russell Westbrook in his peak. Dear goodness, no.
Yeah.
You know
No.
what I mean? He had good, paint depth and all these type of things, and he had defenders on those teams. And Kevin Durant is overrated. Kevin Durant is overrated if you say he's better than Steph, because who leads to winning more? I understand Kevin Durant
Steph.
is unstoppable offensively and getting to his spots, yes, but he doesn't lead to winning more than Steph. You know what I mean?
No,
It's
not at
just
all.
it's blatantly obvious now, and it should have been obvious in 2016 when the Warriors beat them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
But
Klay Thompson, Katie had to join.
you, you can play
He's a
devil's
bus
advocate though.
rider, not a bus driver,
There it is.
according to
A
Charles
bus
Barkley.
ride. Yeah, it's definitely a bus rider. But to play devil's advocate with that, at least
Uh huh.
it can be argued that Russ lost them that series. They were up and they lost that series in the West. They could have won it had Russ took better shots and not try to play Superman. I mean, Superman when he's Batman when he's a Robin. When that came out, that's you kind of can look at it differently. But I do completely understand exactly where you're coming from. After that series and the fact that he had to go join them, then that shows something that he wasn't gonna be able to win without them. And then those games they played they were too easy. You had too much on the floor.
I honestly thought that he had a bad finish to those conference finals. I'm gonna look at this stats.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, I definitely think that it's a crazy thing where um uh that it's a crazy thing that it's what am I trying to say? It's a crazy thing. Yeah, I guess he had 27 and 29 the last two games of the series. So not
Yeah.
that bad. They're
No,
pretty
no, no,
average.
no, 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 no. Pretty. I mean, that's average for a great score. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, he's nobody can contest that he's a great scorer, but I
Yeah.
don't think he leads
He
the
doesn't
way
have the mental
more than
game of
Steph.
basketball at all. That's where his deficiencies is. And if he wants to be an elite player, you know what I mean, and be able to lead
Mm-hmm.
a team, because I don't see him as a leader because he doesn't have the mental game of the game. I mean, the mental part of the game
Mm-hmm.
down. At least to my eye test into what my opinion is, then he won't win. He won't be able to
Mm-hmm.
win unless he has somebody who can play chess, not checkers, for him, and just leave him
Mm-hmm.
all to the scoring. I mean, to scoring. I don't think you can.
Yeah.
You can't. I mean, everybody isn't going to be a LeBron James, Rondo, CP3 type of basketball brain, but
Mm-hmm.
it just Jason Tatum isn't a CP3 brain. Jason Tatum isn't a LeBron brain, but we see him. We see that he's able to make good passes.
Yes.
He's able. He can do that. Not comparing
Yes.
the two, but just well, I am comparing the two, but not on that level because Jason
Mm-hmm.
Tatum's not Kevin Durant. Kevin Durant's not Jason Tatum, but
Mm-hmm.
it's just even Jason Tatum is what I'm getting at. Has some knowledge of the way defenses work and things like that in order to if need be he can not going to carve up a defense, but he can make good passes that can lead to
Mm-hmm.
scoring.
Mm-hmm.
That's what was missing in that Brooklyn series. If Kevin Durant had just a part, or just maybe even what Jason Tatum had during that series, as far as like, then the game would have went differently. He was being double teamed and couldn't make the right choice
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very true, but I think it's gonna change next year.
with
Ben
Ben
Simmons
Simmons.
on that team. Yeah, I understand. I understand you're not a Ben Simmons guy, but he can make those passes. I think
He can.
he's exactly what that team needs, especially size wise. I mean, Jurgen is the mini me's.
If he can play.
Yeah,
If he'll play. You
I
think
think
he'll
he's gonna
play?
come back with a vengeance. I honestly think right now, if I had to predict the NBA champion for the next season, I would say Brooklyn Nets, if healthy.
Okay. Oh, if healthy.
Yeah,
Okay.
Ben Simmons,
Alrighty.
Kyrie, and KD is just too much. They fit really
Mm,
well together, like really, really well
we'll
together.
we'll see.
Yeah,
We'll see.
we
We'll
will.
see. I don't see it happening. Because I
Okay,
have zero belief in Ben. Zero.
I understand, but I think he's this. It's a good team.
This is the same guy who was who who
Huh?
puts up videos of him shooting threes but won't take a three in a game. This is the same guy whose best player said that we can't win with Ben. And his coach said the same thing.
You know,
Yeah.
I understand what you're saying. You know, but
Is he even working out right now or is he sitting on the couch next to AD?
now that
Like,
is
what is he
funny.
doing?
That is funny.
Like,
That was funny. Yeah. What was AD doing? I mean,
he was eating crawfish and he was like, I haven't shot a ball since April 4th or something like that. April 5th. I'm like, you
AD.
haven't shot a ball since April? You
Some
what are you
people will be
you're
wilding
not in
after
the
a ring.
playoffs, didn't even make the like you're not in the playoffs. You had a terrible season, played what, half the season. You haven't shot a ball since April?
It must be
We're
an
in
injury.
June.
It must be an injury. It must be. No way. That's
It's been
true.
an injury since he started playing basketball. He
That's
stubs
funny.
his toe and out for 2 weeks. Like, stop it. He blinked too hard and his eye and like he blinked too hard and got an injury and got a sprain in his eyeball or a sprain in his eyebrow or something like that and got to sit out.
Yeah.
Like, they sit on the couch right next to each other playing 2K. Evidently, whoever Ben Simmons' trainer is, that's the trainer that AD needs to avoid unless they got the same trainer. Because they would both just sit out.
Yeah.
Just sit out. Just don't play the
Yeah.
game. Street clothes.
Called him out. Man, that was funny. I honestly think that I to shift gears, the Christian Wood trade to the Dallas Mavericks where they moved a first round draft pick. I really like that trade
They gave
because
up a lot.
I think it was worth it. So, I'm doing my mock draft, right? So I'm thinking about
Mm-hmm.
who fits for the Dallas Mavericks. And I'm thinking about that Rudy Gobert trade offer that people were talking about. I'm like, I don't think they would trade for Rudy Gobert after they just exposed Rudy Gobert in the playoffs. Right? They found a
Yeah.
winning formula with a small ball center.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Wood. That's an upgrade. It would have been hard to find a small ball center. The only guy is like Jalen Williams from Arkansas, which you guys will hear about the NBA big board plot twist. He's in the big board top 30. I really think he's a good fit on small ball teams. But that's a segue for a different time. So basically, to fit their scheme, Christian Wood is an upgrade to Dwight Powell because it would have been hard pressed to find a guy that could have been a really good small ball center at the 26th pick. And the reason why
Mm-hmm.
Christian Wood's so valuable is one, he's young. He's like 23, 24, and 6'11", 6'10", shoots 39% from the 3-point line, has post game, and also can be a lob threat, screen setter, and a good defender, switchable. So on the Dallas Mavericks, that's a really good player. That's going to be there for
Mm-hmm.
5 to 10 years and be a really good fit with Luka at the center position. And he fits the age, time frame, and the way they want to play as a team. So I really like that trade. Christian Wood, I think, is a great fit. You know what I mean? Not many people watch the Rockets a ton, but he's a really good player. I think he's going to fit there really well.
Yeah, I didn't watch the Rockets a ton.
Mm-hmm.
I just feel. I mean, I completely see where you're going with this, but I just feel like That's a lot. Like a lot to give up. They gave up a pick and 3 players. I mean, like maybe they're just trying to clear cap space because they're going to try
Yeah.
to get that second player. Because Mark
Hmm.
Cuban, he has deep pockets. So, and I said this before, I was like, Mark Cuban's the type of owner that will dig deep in his pockets to give Luca what he wants, and they
Yeah.
obviously it's like a glaring thing in their face right now. They need a second star.
Hmm.
That's not named Tim Hardaway Jr. or what's the guy who had 41?
Jalen
Uh,
Brunson,
Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson, Spencer Dinwiddie.
Like
Those two
they need
guys.
a obvious second in command, and there's
Yeah.
not too many out there. But I feel like if he's willing to dig deep in his pockets, they can get something good.
Yeah, I think that should be wing talent, but for the conversation of Christian Wood, I think he was exactly what the team needed. That's it.
Yeah,
It's rare to find a center that fits your scheme perfectly like him, and he's just that guy. He's him. So, Rudy Gobert, it's an interesting thing. I wonder. I I personally think that a team in the East will probably bite on him because I think something that you got to take away from this year is you better have a center in the East now
hmm
because you got to stop Jalen Brown and Jason Tatum at the rim, and you got to stop Giannis at the rim,
yeah.
right? To go anywhere, you got to stop Jimmy Butler at the rim. Do you got to stop Joel Embiid like that? You got to stop Ben Simmons from getting to the rim. I understand you may not, you whatever with Ben Simmons, but you got to stop. Those are top 8 teams in the East. All of them have players that attack the rim at a high level. So the center position is very valuable in the East. So I'm thinking a team in the East will pull the trigger on overpaying for Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
To get somebody that can guard those guys. For some reason, my gut feeling is saying the Knicks, but we'll see what happens.
And Rudy Gobert leaves, and it's time for Donovan Mitchell to get out of there too. Please, dear God,
Did you
leave.
did you see the picture?
What picture?
They got him picture. There was a picture of him, Pat Riley, Jimmy Butler, and him with a hat that had some metaphorical saying, basically "be free" or something like that on it.
Are you serious?
I'm not kidding.
You gotta send me this picture.
I saw it on TikTok. I don't even know where it's at anymore.
Oh damn! But that's crazy. If that happens, here are my new favorites.
Tyler Hero is probably going to be sent for something. They're probably going to. There's so many players that are going to be available, and the interesting thing is nobody's talking about Bradley Beal as a free agent. He's a free agent this year.
I think Lakers are
Where
gonna
he,
sneak up on him.
I wish. Um, It'd be hilarious if they actually traded LeBron, but I highly doubt that's going to happen.
Oh, pause. That's a great segue into the thing that I sent you. Okay, so I saw it on Twitter. I don't know if there's a lot of credibility here. It came off the Bleacher Report.
Mhm.
Not from Woj, but it came off Bleacher Report. So I was like, man, it's possibly fake, but I'm gonna say it anyway, just so we can just discuss it because this is ridiculous. It was said that the Lakers were trying to get Tyler Hero from the Heat, and the Heat will only accept LeBron back.
I mean, I couldn't see them not accepting Anthony Davis back, but that's pretty funny in the talks. But I think it just has to do with people. The Miami Heat understand Tyler Hero is by far the biggest trade asset they have, and they're just gonna hold on to him or trade him whenever, or keep him
Mm.
on the bench like he's not a starting 2 guard in the NBA. Yes. What? It was hilarious. Pat Riley took shots, and you know what? I'm gonna take a shot back at Pat Riley. Pat Riley was like, somebody asked, "Oh, what about Tyler Hero? Do you think he should be a starting 2 guard next year?" And they're like, "It's like, well, he's a really good player. I don't feel like we need to do anything better next year. I think Tyler Hero really needs to take away from watching these playoffs is got to be a 2-way player." You know what you need to take away from the playoffs? Tyler Hero is your second best player scoring the basketball. And you need to
Yeah.
put him on the floor to win. You can't score more than 100 points in a game in the Eastern Conference playoffs. Jimmy Butler by himself is not enough to win a ring. So, yeah, I don't care if he can't guard Jason Tatum or Klay Thompson or Steph Curry, and he's just gonna stop everybody. If you just commit only to defense, you can't score enough to win a game. And when it really matters, by team beating teams who can actually be balanced. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like people, the reason why the Boston Celtics and the Miami Heat look better than they do, in my opinion, is the Milwaukee Bucks didn't just walk right through all of them.
Yeah.
Because you could be a defensive as all you want to, but what do you do with the teams that actually compete that could just score more points than you? Because if Chris Middleton would have been healthy, that team would have been in the NBA Finals. They pushed the Boston Celtics to 6 without Chris Middleton on the floor for a single second of this series. Anybody who understands basketball will tell you that Chris Middleton would have made a 2-game difference in that series. At
Oh,
least.
for sure.
That's 20 points they're missing out on. That's no slouch, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can play balanced basketball all you want to. You can commit to defense all you want to, but if you can't score enough points, nobody gives a flying BUCK, right? Okay, it's not 2001. It's not 2002. You need to be able to score enough points to win. Yeah, you got to play defense too, but get out of here, Pat. Get out of here,
Yeah.
Pat. Yeah, I mean Tyler Hero. Next thing, you may want to tell him to work on defense, but how will you tell him to work on becoming a superstar? Because that's the potential he can be offensively. If he's working on defense all summer, what about the time spent on offensively reach his maximal potential? And how about you look in a mirror and ask yourself, why haven't you supported him mentally to try to become the best player he can be? Because you are stunting his growth by bringing him off the bench and giving him no confidence. So, yeah, that's what I have to say to Pat Riley.
That is true. That is very true.
Yeah. Interesting question.
What's up?
Would the Bucks beat the Warriors healthy?
Healthy team versus healthy team. Completely,
Yes.
fully, full power. Bucks beat Warriors.
Ooh, really? Dang, that would have been a good series. Drop coverage would have killed them.
Huh?
Brook Lopez in the paint would have killed them. They would have lost the 6.
Ooh, I don't know. I mean, I can see that too, but my whole problem is that the Warriors, this is why the reason why the Boston Celtics should have won, but they didn't win is because they never exposed the size difference. They were a bigger team. They had the height difference on the Warriors. They did. They could have. We've seen them carve through the lanes, get to where their spots, and go inside. That's all they really had to do. And then after they get enough of those in, they shoot threes. Don't just pop threes and keep shooting them until you're shooting ice blocks and cinder blocks and you're missing everything.
Mm-hmm.
You go inside. You have to expose the weakness of that team. The team was too small. The Bucks would have did that. They have too much height, and who's stopping Giannis because they don't have the height to do so.
They have Draymond Green though.
That's not enough.
The best power forward defender in the league. It would have.
Giannis is not a normal power forward.
I understand.
He would at least made it
a tough. It would have been like when Kawhi was guarding Braun. Kawhi at least made it a tough night. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I would. But a tough night for Giannis is still 30 points.
I think it would have held him to 26, 27 a game, which is still great, but it would have been much more inefficient. I think they would have had the secret sauce to beat them. I think that was 6.
Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Giannis. What's the guy name? Did they get rid of Bryn Forbes? Or they still have Bryn Forbes? I forgot.
I don't think they have Grayson Allen, who would have gotten exposed.
Grayson Allen would. I think that they would have.
They would have been able to hide. They would have been able to hide Steph on Grayson Allen, put Klay on Drew, and put Wiggs on Chris.
I just think that I think Giannis would be the difference maker.
I'm still taking Warriors at 6, baby. Mismatch.
I would take Bucks in 7.
Steph Curry. You think Steph Curry had a great series this series? Thank goodness. Brook Lopez standing in the paint looking at him, bro. Mike Budenholzer would have never thought of putting Giannis at center, which makes that series completely different. But Mike
That
Budenholzer's
would
a
have made
stubborn guy.
that's where my
What?
mind goes. That's where my mind went. My mind
He's
went
not
put
that
Giannis
smart.
at center. That's what
I'm
because
glad you're starting to the smarter than the Bucks head coach though.
yeah, that's where I went. That's why I was like, oh, it will be different because Giannis will be at center and nobody can stop Giannis. But I think that they would they have to they have to look around their team and go, wait, you're 6'11", you're 6'9", you're 6'10". All of us are like 6'8" and up. We need to like, and these guys are like 6'1", 6'2", 6'3" is like their max, 6'4", maybe 6'5". Like you have to. It's a height difference. You
Mm,
expose the height difference. That game is won. You have to
mm,
impose your will. What I said earlier about the Celtics was that I don't see the Warriors outside of Draymond Green as being this rough, rugged team. They don't walk the line like like the Celtics do. The Celtics
uh-huh.
had to impose their will. They have the height, they have the physicality, and they have the toughness. Not the mental toughness, but they have the toughness. They could have won that series. That series was theirs to be won, but they never used their intangible gifts well enough during that series.
I understand what you're saying. And if like we got into a coaching battle that I was coaching the Warriors, like you were coaching the Bucks would do better because the Bucks wouldn't have Brooke Lopez on the floor. I'm just saying Mike Budenholzer is a guy that sticks to whatever he does. He never changes. He's one of those
Yeah.
guys that, it's just his brain can be a little much sometimes where he has this whole formula, right? Of like, this is how we're gonna win, and this is the way we want to ring, right? And all those type of things. And he is stuck in his ways no matter what happens. Because if he wasn't stuck in those ways, then you would have seen Giannis being put at center against the Atlanta Hawks when they were playing against Trae Young. Because
Yeah.
that is what I and you would have done. We would have
Yeah.
been like, we need to put Giannis at center. And we need to shut Trae Young's little clapping behind up, and then it would have been over in 4. We would have swept them, right? It would have been it would have been over. But he
Yeah.
sticks to whatever he does because he believes in it, and the Warriors would get him on that. They would win. Now, if you were coaching them, I would say it would go 7 and be close. But
Mhm.
sorry, Mike Budenholzer can't. He's an Avery Johnson type coach, where Avery Johnson makes Jason Kidd guard for 45 minutes a game when he's 37 against Tony Parker and George Hill at the peak of their athletic primes and lose the series.
Yeah.
Which is a good segue to something else. I have a shot to take. All right, you ready for this, Chris?
All right. I'm ready.
Avery Johnson. I saw him on CBS. I was looking at NBA draft stuff, and I just get upset every time looking at people because they never know basketball. But Jabari Smith, plot twist. He's not Kevin Garnett. 6'10" guy that doesn't really post a bunch, isn't like freaky athletic, and is a 3-point shooter that comes off of screens and shot creates for himself from the 3-point line, and has a mid-range game where he shoots fadeaways and plays like a Brandon Ingram type of player. Would you ever in 1,000 years compare Brandon Ingram to Kevin Garnett, who posts?
No.
That's why he's not an NBA coach.
But
Hey,
but
he used to be on
but
ESPN.
Kevin Garnett in his later years he did start stretching the floor because he was able to knock down that long too.
But he's a power forward. As a post.
Yeah,
He posts.
he's a post guy though.
Mid-post.
He's a post guy though. He is a post guy though.
There's
I'm
no
just saying he was able,
embarrass.
like he was.
I understand what you're trying to say, but Jabari Smith shoots 42% from the 3-point line. Like, I know KG can shoot, but he's not Jabari Smith.
Yeah, no, he's not. He's
Oh my
not
god.
KD. He's not Kevin Garnett.
I just had to get that up. Avery Johnson is not a basketball addict. I'm sorry to break it to you. He might have been an NBA
Yeah.
player. That's just a great thing. NBA players don't always know everything about basketball. I'm sorry to break it to you, but
Look at Mike Jordan, the GM.
oh my god. I swear. Steve Nash is the next coming of Kevin Garnett. I just see it. I used to be in the NBA. I watched him play. That's that guy. Like, I
Oh
swear
man.
to God, bro, I had to get that off my chest. I just. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I can't stand. I can't. I just.
Yeah.
This is why you should listen to my NBA draft stuff, because I know what's wrong and I know what actually is smart, and our stuff is going to be smart. Big board top 30, it's already done. You're going to want to hear it. You're going to want to hear that mock draft of what I would do. I don't care what everybody else thinks. I don't care about what I think everybody else is going to do, because I want my mock draft to be like whatever it is going to be every single year. You're going to look back at it and be like, that guy got it right. He should be one of our scouts in the future. So,
Yeah.
it's tune in. You'll see it. You will see it.
Yeah. And I think that's a great place to stop it, just with a little teaser there. Mock draft coming up soon. NBA draft coming up soon. We got a lot of fun stuff coming up. Very, very, very excited to hear what Jason have to say. Jason, every time this time comes around, if you were here last year around this time, he really truly broke it down. I was looking at pages and pages of research. This guy really digs deep. He's like, I just have to applaud you for that. Like, when it comes to researching things, you dig deep. I mean, like, it was like a whole dissertation with cited sources and everything. I was like, damn, like, it's like 20 pages worth of stuff. I'm reading it through it. I'm like, it's you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it. If you missed it last year, don't miss it this year.
Yeah, I research as much as a girlfriend knows. If you're cheating on her, basically. That's how much I research.
Yeah, Jason's gonna find out.
I'm telling you, as a boyfriend of somebody else, man, women are great to figure out when you're lying or when you're doing something. You know what I mean? It's just like, you could be literally washing the dishes. She's like, "Are you using the yellow soap instead of the blue soap today?" I'm like, "How did you know?" It's just their mind readers, bro.
Mind readers, I don't know. They have a heightened sense of something. I don't know what it is. What you gonna call that? It's called a woman's intuition. That's what it is.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So after that, we really appreciate you guys. Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you're from TikTok, we really appreciate you guys. We're really trying to reach those 5-star reviews. We want to, have an inclusive community where everybody can join and you guys can find other basketball addicts. And we really appreciate you guys. We'll keep giving you great content for agencies, fun. You know what I mean? We're gonna have really cool stuff we do every off season. We have a lot of creative ideas. We're very, true basketball addicts. So it'll be year-round content. So, yeah. Do you have anything else you want to say, Chris?
No, just thank you for listening, guys.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm Jason Collins.
And I'm Chris Muhammad. And we're the Basketball Addicts. Peace.
Ouch.